What happens when garbage time is every time a team hits the court? That's life in the tank race. Not everyone in that situation is losing, though. Here are some of the players who have turned their team's useless games into fodder for their personal highlight reel. MarShon Brooks, Dillon Brooks, and Wayne Selden Jr., Grizzlies. Paolo Uggetti, Brooks and Selden don't have time to tank, even if the Grizzlies could use a little losing. At the risk of relinquishing precious lottery odds, Memphis, the second worst team in the league, is letting its under-the-radar guys audition for them and the rest of the league. MarShon Brooks, a first-round pick in 2011, had been out of the league for 3 seasons until Memphis signed him to a 10-day contract last week. In 2 games, he has scored 21 and 24 points on 12 and 13 shots from the floor, respectively. The former performance was good enough to fuel the Grizzlies' upset of the third-place Blazers. However, Brooks did miss Sunday's matchup against Portland with an left ankle injury. Selden has barely played this season, missing 42 games because of various injuries. But since his return, he has produced 7 double-digit scoring games in a 9-game stretch, including a 23-point game that helped the Grizz take down the Wolves last week. Then there's Dillon Brooks, who won't get the kind of rookie love that's being showered on Donovan Mitchell and Ben Simmons or even Jason Tatum, but who has been a steady scoring presence for Memphis. Brooks has tallied 40 games of double-digit point totals this season and is averaging over 16 points in his past 15 games. Memphis may regret this come May, but Dillon Brooks is showing he could be a second-round gem, while MarShon Brooks and Selden are hopefully grabbing some attention with their play. Selden's contract isn't guaranteed beyond this season, and MarShon, well, he's doing everything he can to stick around this time. Bobby Portis, Bulls. Uggetti, Portis began the season mired in controversy, punching Nikola Mirotic in practice before the Bulls played a single game. He's ending it as one of the more consistently productive players on a team that can't quite tank right. Since February began, aka since the Bulls traded Mirotic to New Orleans, Portis is averaging nearly 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists per game and has posted 7 double-doubles. In Sunday's win over the Wizards, he had 18 points in just 15 minutes. Portis hasn't stopped jawing at opposing benches, and though the Bulls are largely irrelevant at this point in the season, his development has been promising, even if his season has been, erratic. 3. Burke, Knicks. Haley O'Shaughnessy, 5 seasons after Burke led Michigan to the NCAA championship game, his name is still associated with that team far more than anyone in the NBA. March was kind to both him and his alma mater again this year. The Wolverines are back in the final, and Burke is starting for the first time in 3 years. There is a list of 179 players to run down before guessing, with any sincerity, that it was Burke who Iverson'd his way to 42 points against Charlotte last Monday. I'd even put 5 Knicks in front of him. It was Burke's 29th game since the Knicks called him up from the G League and his second since replacing Emmanuel Mudiay in the starting lineup. New York, give me your tired, your poor, your draft busts yearning to start an NBA game. Burke has looked like he's back at college the past 6 games, averaging 21.3 points, but he is also trying to carve out a new path for himself as more of a passer. He has finished with double-digit assists 3 times in his 31 games with the Knicks, 1 short of tying the amount he had in his 2-year collegiate career. Michigan's run will end Monday, Burke has hopefully won't end with it. Taurean Prince, Hawks. Uggetti, a lot of playoff teams could use Prince's services right now. The second-year player is quietly putting together an all-star-like finish to his season on a Hawks team no one is paying attention to. That's not a typo. Prince has scored 38 points twice since the beginning of March. Plus a 28-point game, a 25-point game, 2 22-point games, a 21-point game, and a 20-point game. Prince is balling, and not just on offense. The small forward has had 22 games this season of 2 steals or more. Prince is a classic example of a really good player whose production is diminished by playing on a bad team. Still, the Hawks' standing shouldn't cast a pall on his progression or his eye-popping performances. His leap in year 2 is providing some hope for a rebuilding Atlanta team. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, Nets. Uggetti, can I interest you in some RHJ stock to take into the off-season? Since returning from a groin strain on February 26, Hollis-Jefferson has been a force, averaging 15 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game. The leap the 2015 late first-round pick has made in year 3 in the league is clear. He has nearly doubled his average points production despite playing only 6 more minutes a game while raising his shooting percentage and improving almost every other statistical category. Plus, he has got explosiveness like this stored up and ready to deploy on either end of the court. Physically, he is just better. Kenny Atkinson said Sunday before Hollis-Jefferson finished with 14 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal in 30 minutes of the Nets' loss to the Pistons. He told me he is not on the floor nearly as much as he was last year. He always plays hard, that's why you trust him.